You Season 3 is finally coming out this week, and I know a lot of people have been pretty excited about this one, particularly me, because the second season wasn't completely my jam, so I was hoping this one would get me back on board. And overall, what I can say is that this season is probably the most insane one yet. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new non-spoiler review for You Season 3. There is a lot that goes on in this season, and I don't want to give any sort of spoilers away. So, of course, if you guys are new here, you guys are safe. And if you've been here before, then you also know you're safe. I'm pretty much just going to give you guys my overall basic, vague thoughts. But do be aware of the comments section. If there's any spoilers you guys want to talk about when the season premieres later this week, we can talk about it then. You, of course, ended last season with now Joe, a father, and also getting married to Love Quinn. He's living in the suburbs, but at the very end of it, you could tell that he was going back to more of his obsessive ways, because that's who Joe is. And for me, when I saw that at the ending, I went, really? Again? Thankfully, what I can give it overall into this season, at least in the beginning of it all, it doesn't remain as repetitive as the second and first season really much felt to me. In a sense, though, I can be honest, You is kind of like my guilty pleasure show to watch. I don't think this is cinematic greatness, nor do I think it's the greatest show on television. It's just an interesting one that has me reacting to almost every single moment, going, seriously? That's what you just did? Or saying, what the hell? Those are some of the best shows to watch, especially with friends or family, where you can sit there and have just an enjoyable time. But I don't recommend watching this show with your family, because like if you watch it with your mom, it might be a little bit awkward. Going away from that tangent though, if you guys are new here and you guys love talking movies and TV, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep talking movies and TV over here on a daily basis, as well as comment down below your guys' overall thoughts. Are you guys excited for this new season? Have you guys seen the other ones? Let's discuss it all down there. Starting with my pros, the number one pro I want to give this film is of course Penn's performance as Joe. It continues to be an intriguing character study into one man, and while I still appreciate the flashbacks and some of the stuff that goes into his past to maybe understand him a little bit more, I am expecting a little bit more. I just... He's becoming a very frustrating character for me overall. This season in particular, I think he's a little bit better, especially in his dynamics, and I'm curious to see, you know, if they end up going to a next season or any of that nature, them exploring him in some way, shape, and form. For me, Joe is a fascinating character that I know the creators have talked about, that really much, as you watch him, you know, you can't cheer for him, but at the same time, you're just like, dude, can you just, like, not be obsessive over someone else when you have this beautiful girl right here who might be a psychopath? Thinking about that maybe a psychopath is, of course, Victoria Petteri's Love Quinn, who I loved in Season 2, and I love her in here. In fact, the biggest pro I can give it is their chemistry is working with one another, even though they're kind of at odds, of course, at the end of Season 2, where you almost killed her, and then he finds out she's pregnant. That was a doozy. But in Season 3, you get this great dynamic between the both. And the thing that I loved in the earlier part of the season was that it really much was about both of them. You kind of see the inner monologues of both of them at times, and even especially unique dialogue that kind of goes to both of them. And I really loved that, how we got two separate perspectives from two different kind of psychopaths in a sense. That made for interesting TV. And I can even add in here again, when you're watching the first episode of this new season, you're like, okay, I see where we're going, okay, that just happened. Even though you knew it was going to happen, it ends up leading the entire season to probably one of the most interesting seasons yet, and just wondering, how are these two going to adapt to this new world and this new suburbs that they're living in with a child? That whole entire aspect of this season was what really locked me in, even if, let's get to my mixed category. My mixed category, because I enjoy some of it, I don't, are some of the really dumb choices these characters make. But again, in the nature of who they are following along, and in a sense, I'm kind of just cheering for them to get better. I don't want them to be, you know, them. I want them to get better and grow on themselves, but they just fall back into their same paths, which may annoy some people out there. For me, I like it. It doesn't annoy me too much, but I am expecting a little bit more. And even though within the season I still enjoyed it, again, it's frustrating to watch at times. But I overall still dug the story for this, and it probably is my favorite story yet, especially with the new interesting characters that they added into the mix and some of their backgrounds that you start to find out throughout the entire story. Just getting into my cons, which also might be a mixed thing, is this, again, I mentioned kind of some of the choices they make. Some of the choices are absolutely stupid. And I really am baffled by at least two choices in particular where I saw them and I was like, That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I don't like that they went that direction. I actually wish more of the story was more focused in, again, in that first half of where it was really about their dynamic. And I actually wish this entire season was more of them being together than them kind of splitting apart. Because we knew by the end of season 1 that Joe was kind of only there because of the kid. But really what I really wanted to see from this was them actually maybe meld that. And you start to see that a bit, but it really starts to diverge to the point where you kind of gets a little bit predictable and repetitive, and you know exactly where it's going to go by the very end of the season, and it went in that exact same direction. So I found that to be a bit disappointing for me as a viewer of this, because as much as I enjoy the show, it is very frustrating to me at the same time. But I will say, I was someone who at the end of season 2, while disappointed with that season, I enjoyed it overall. I still just left going, I don't know if I can get another season of this. But the trailers won me back over, the concept won me back over. I'm like, okay, maybe if you meld them together and really make this whole entire season about you, where it's like you is about love, you could really get to a unique perspective. But knowing where Joe goes, knowing who love is, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together on how this season may piece together. And I was really wanting a little bit more, again, of them together and working together in this environment, because it's an interesting dynamic. In a sense, it kind of reminded me of certain seasons with Dexter, at least the good seasons of Dexter. And even though they're not killing bad people and they end up hurting good people, you know, it's a little bit icky, but at least it was enjoyable. Overall, this is pretty much the CW show for Netflix. It's only 10 episodes, but it's an enjoyable 10 episodes that you can't stop watching. Even at times if it could be a train wreck for some of the decisions that the characters make. It's the same thing that you get from season 1 and season 2, and if you enjoy those 2 seasons, this one's going to be right up your alley. But if you're like me, who was pretty much done after season 2 and just being like, where else can you go? Okay, they have this new dynamic. That new dynamic pretty much works overall for half the season, and the rest of the season it kind of falls into its same particular manners, and it is overall an insane season. I mean, there are certain choices that happen throughout here that my jaw absolutely hit the floor, even if I knew it was coming. But it was a fun show to still watch, and it'll be a fun show to discuss with others who do watch it. So overall, I enjoyed the season. I expected a little bit more, but I'm excited to hear what your guys' thoughts overall on the season are. So with all that said, I'm going to give you season 3 a B. It's an enjoyable one. It won me over. If they happen to go into a season 4 with any other way that they possibly could with the ending of the season, I'll be there first day to check it out and let you guys know how it is. But thank you once again for watching this. You guys are seriously all the best. Thank you again for Netflix for the advanced screener of this show. And of course, if you guys want to see movies early, head on over to Synopsis Films on how to see those early. And of course, a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. So of course, until next time, stay classy.